Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome on our show tonight Mr. Jaspal Soni, the founder of Chananda Cultural Society. Mr. Jaspal Soni is a retired environmental engineer who went to the USA in the mid-60s for further studies. He worked for the US Department of Energy in Washington, D.C. for over 30 years. After retirement in 2009, he moved to New Delhi and founded the Chananda Cultural Society, a non-governmental organization dedicated to spreading the teachings of the ascended masters in India. His NGO is also engaged in performing charity work for the children of the Delhi City Public Park employees. He has been following the teachings of the ascended masters for the past 45 years and holds workshops and seminars throughout the NCR region. Welcome, Mr. Jaspalji. It's a great pleasure and honor to have you with us tonight. So today we will be talking on the topic of the knowledge of ascended masters, angels and the elementals. I am sure most of us have no clue about these aspects of human life which are very much present around us, but we don't know how to harness their energies, how to take their help and how to ascend to their level where they exist. So beginning with my first question tonight. Jaspalji, please tell us who are ascended masters.
First of all, thank you, Shiviji, for having me, and thank you all the viewers. It's a pleasure of my deep heart to be with you today. Answering your question, Shiviji, who are the ascended masters? And that is a question that is very timely, also something that people are not used to, really, this word ascended master. Ascended masters are our elder brothers and sisters who have freed themselves from this cycle of birth and rebirth from every part of the world, from every gender, since eons, since day one when the evolution of the earth began. We call it Moksha in India. So they have freed themselves and they have become free from the coming rebirth, and they called to, at this point they are called ascended masters, and they are showing us the way how we can become like them, how we can free ourselves from the cycle of birth and rebirth like they did.
Okay, so can you tell us who are the few ascended masters who are currently among us and to whose level we can aspire to rise?
That is a very good question, because that's where we start. Because in India, and I believe also in other parts of the world, I'm from USA also, so people do not know this word ascended master. So how do we recognize them? How do we know what is ascended master? Let's talk about in India. We have many saints in India, who have walked the earth. Let's start with Gautama Buddha. We have a Krishna. We have let's talk Mahavatar Babaji. We have Guru Nanak Dev Ji, we have Guru Gobind Singh Ji, we have many great beings, We used to call them as Devi Devtas, but not the ascended masters. So now this term is being introduced so people can really know that there is another level called ascended master that is within their reach for everyone, that we can become that. And then we look at the other ascended master, like I think I can mention some more names a little bit later on. They're called Ascended Master Al Moria. I think Ascended Master, I'll talk about that. Ascended Master Kutumbi. Ascended Master is also Lord Maitreya Buddha, Gautama Buddha. So they are actually numberless numbers of the ascended masters, but somehow we call them as Devi Devtas, or we call them by other names, but not as ascended masters.
Okay, so you mean to say once upon a time they were just like us living ordinary lives on this plane, and through their efforts and through their interest in spirituality and their selflessness and their inner greatness, they were able to transcend that human limitation and reach to this level of ascended masters.
That is very true, and exactly the way you put it. This is the way. Now the path is being opened to people on the earth. That this something that they have achieved, that is the goal of life. When I was growing up, when I was on my spiritual journey, my spiritual search, this question came to me: what's the purpose of life? Why I am here? Of course, my friends say, well, your purpose of life is to, I went to America, then you get a job, then you get married, then you have, house, buy a house, then you have cars, then you go to parties, then you do save the money, then you retire. Well, that is true. But what is the inner purpose of life? And that was driving me. I said, well, maybe someone should know the answer. So now when I came to know about that there is an inner purpose of life, and these ascended masters, that some of them we have mentioned by name, they have achieved it. And there is somebody over there in America who knows them also, So I wanted to know who are those ascended masters. How can I find them?
Whom do you refer to when you say when you speak of ascended masters in America?
Jesus Christ was, I think, it's a Western nation, So there are most of the people in America are Christians, Christian majority. But unfortunately, the Christians do not recognize or do not want to accept it for some reason, this word as ascended master. They call Jesus as a son of God. So this organization that I am part of, that called Summit Lighthouse in America, they opened up that lid that was on this, that covers people by religion only. And they removed that lid and said, well, look, under this lid there is a spirituality, and there are no compartments of religion, so-called. And you can connect with them. So Jesus Christ, I came to know about him that his role was also to show everyone to become like him. He's ascended master, Jesus Christ, and we can follow him. So then I started my journey from him, and then I was led to the other ascended masters.
Other ascended masters, so can you shed light about those ascended masters whom you've been inspired by?
I'm so proud, I can say that, and to be in India, because I'm Indian, and India is the land of saints.
Right.
India, when the rest of the world, it is known that when the rest of the world was in darkness, India was called the golden light of illumination. People were coming from all over the world to India, wanted to learn what is that in India that is a deep spirituality. So Gautama Buddha, he was
like Neem Karoli Baba, Swami Nityananda, Sai Baba, they're all
there are many
category?
Yes, there are many beings.
Even today.
Yes, I would say that there have been many saints that have come to India, but I will come back to that. Yeah, they are saints and they are saints, And then we have one has to really say in this place, how do I find a true saint? How do I find someone who is genuinely saintly connected? And that is something that I think another, maybe come to that question a little bit later. How does one find who is the saint and who is something that is not quite, but looks like a saint? And that is really the challenge of a true seeker in this world.
Okay, so how can we identify any ascended master? If this is the challenge, so can you help seekers make this difference? How to distinguish between who is real and who is not? How to have this wisdom?
I will speak for myself.
Okay.
I was very hungry. I was very desirous. I really wanted to know God. You are here. I know that. You have sent everyone. You are the creator. All those good things that we know. Where are you? So I was led by my friends to one, second, third, And I said, well, there is something that quite not right here, I have to go someplace else. So I continued my search from pillar to post, as they say that. And my conclusion is this, after where I am answering this question, is that a person who really wants God and only God, and he goes through different tests, and he says, some people stop there and say, well, this is it. How do you know that? Well, there is an inner voice. There's an inner something yearning that says, well, no, oh yes. And that is, I want to share with the viewers that please continue your search, continue what you are inspired to do, and maybe it's a test. That do we, it's like a lot of people run from a jogging like a 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer, 15 kilometer, and some people find something along the way, that is more tempting or something. I say, well, that's enough. I think this is it. But one who wants to go all the way, he knows it, that at the end there is something waiting for me. And I think that was in my heart. I said, God, you are there, and I know that I will find you if I continue. And mercy of God.
I think it also depends upon your own inner thirst. So if you're actually looking for God, then obviously you will find. But if your quest is for something else, maybe material possessions, name, fame, money, power, then you might stumble upon fake gurus who might mislead you and lead you to misery and a lot of suffering in life. So according to me, if you actually, if you're quite disillusioned by the existence of fake gurus around and whose stories abound everywhere, you must first question yourself also. Were you actually seeking the truth, or were you only seeking comforts?
Absolutely, absolutely. Please continue. I think this is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak.
That's according to like what I have understood, that people question everything, but they don't question their own inner motives, and which is why they get disappointed in the long run. Okay, so since the topic is ascended masters, angels, and elementals, so I just want to ask you the next important question: who are angels? Because we hear so many talks about them, and kind of this talk is almost everywhere, and a lot of angel workshops are being held. Do angels exist? Who are they? How do they help us?
Yes, angels do exist. There are 3 evolutions that God has created. One is the first evolution we talked about as human beings who become ascended masters. Second evolution is of the evolution of the angel, which is a separate evolution. They do exist, and they are the word angel. Question is, where does this word angel come from? It's an angle of God's consciousness. It's the angle of God consciousness. Now you might think, well, what is the angle of God consciousness? The angle means God has different angles of understanding. Love is one angle. Wisdom is another angle. Power is another angle. Healing is another angle. Worship is another angle. So we call them. So each angle, there are 7 colors, 7 angles. That if you're talking about 7 major rays, we call them 7 major rays. And these angles, they represent each of the 7 rays of the angle of God consciousness to help us, to help mankind, to illumine them, increase love in them, to really, as partners of really helping them to, so that we as human beings can achieve our goal that we talked about, becoming who we really are as sons and daughters of God.
Yeah, but human beings are physical beings, so we have our 5 senses through which we perceive the world, and anything becomes like more believable for us only if we can see or feel it or hear it. And angels obviously are ethereal beings, you can't perceive them with your naked eyes. So then how can angel actually make a difference to our lives when they are not even visible? And you can't even say that an angel is around me, or I can hear an angel tell me what to do and what not to do. So don't you think that's a big obstacle in our communication with an angel, because they come from a realm which is completely invisible to us? So then it becomes a questionable itself. Many people will question, if they are there, how can they make themselves known to me?
Can I answer something first that is probably will be helpful to answering was the question that you asked? Many of us in human body are angels incarnate. I don't know whether you knew that. So we took the human body as an angel because we wanted to volunteer or we wanted to help others, the people, so people can see us. Maybe that's another way to say that, because people don't see the angel. So we do imbibe those angelic qualities because people can see us in the human body. Now, why we don't see angels? Why many people don't see angels? And so somebody can think, as a myth. Is it a myth or is it a reality? I have felt the presence of angels since I've been my 45 years of journey of the, and part of the reason is that as I began to purify my temple, my body temple, we have 7 chakras in our, so I have to purify each of the chakras. A lot of times the impurities in our chakras, that because that does not allow us to really see those angels, because the angels exist at a level of light. We are also, as human beings, are beings of light. Our soul is a being of light. Because the soul is in the human body, people see as our human body, but the soul has the same ingredients as the angels have. Yeah, I hope I'm where I'm coming to. So the soul has the same, qualities, but also the composition or the, I won't say DNA, but I'll say the same elements or atoms or electrons, as the angel. So we do vibrate at the soul level with the angel. As we begin to purify our chakras, our lower bodies, and angels help us to do that, by the way. That's what I meant earlier when I answered the question. They help us to purify our chakras. We begin to imbibe at their vibration, and have seen many people. Angels of different colors. They have seen angels of, pink color, yellow color, blue color, of course 3 color, white color.
So angels, like for example, if an angel is disembodied, kind of not in a physical form, then if they have to appear to somebody whose chakras are clear, how would they appear? Like in the form of light, or in the form of some being with a feather, or any idea?
Yeah, they have. That's a very good question. The angels are different because God created them as a conveyor. What they happen? They come from the every day, 24 hours. They come from the source, which we call it Great Central Sun. That is the source, the hub of light, and they absorb that light from there, and then they travel to the earth and they deposit that light where we are. They're different in us that they have wings. They're different. Human beings don't have wings. Different evolution. What also is something unique to remember about them, we as human beings, as sons and daughters of God, we have a 3-fold flame in our heart chakra, which is we'll talk about that later. It's a 3-fold flame of Trinity of 3 different colors: the yellow, the pink, and the blue. They are such a 3-fold flame in our heart. So they do not have a 3-fold flame. The God created angels first, and then they created human beings. And here is the very important point. So God created the angel first, and they said, well, now He created a human being, and He gifted the human being with a 3-fold flame. And so all the angels, they bowed before the 3-fold flame of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, we call it also. So they all bowed before the 3-fold flame. Now that in itself is something that, why they bow to the 3-fold flame? Because they were created even before the human beings, and that it tells you that they are over that part that says I'm superior or I am inferior, or why did not God really give me that 3-fold flame? So they are in that totally absorbed in that flame, I call it flame of loving, flame of serving, flame of giving, and really making sure that, can I use the word, the team wins. It's not individual players. A lot of times they say that who's the best player. They think, well, who is the best team? We want to serve this team of sons and daughters of God, and they are our counterpart in that time.
Wow, that's such a high state of consciousness to be in. Okay, so how can we work with the angels? Is there a way through which we can communicate with them, get their messages, and also work alongside them in raising the collective human consciousness?
That's excellent question. And this was really, these were the kind of questions that you're asking me. When I started my journey, I wanted to know that is it a myth? Is that something real? Is that do they exist? And how can I be? How can I be a partner? How can I know them? They are prayers. We call them mantras. We call them decrees also. I belong to an organization in America. So they have a book. We call it prayers. We call them decrees. Like the decrees for the angels of the 7 colors. So you know what I mean. Each color of angel, they have an archangel. Archangel means a general of that particular ray. So 7 rays, there are 7 archangels. And they work with the archangel like army general or that. So they work in unison. But also the question is that why there are 7? Actually there are 7 major rays. There are 5 secret rays. So there are 7 plus 5. There are 12 rays of that the angels correspond to. There are 12 archangels also in that way. So they have a particular mission in terms of, because they represent a particular quality as an angle of God's characteristic, you can say that way. And they want to impart us. So how we work with them, that's the question. How we raise ourselves. So we have been given many prayers, particularly for each of the ray. Which one? So we have been told that we came on a particular ray. We have a major ray, all of us human beings. And we have a minor ray, like you go to college, you want to do major course, what is your minor one, So we have a major ray and we have a minor ray. And we have a certain question and answer that we answer. And then it's objective type question and answer. So it takes about 10-15 minutes. And then it gives us the highest score, that is score objective type. You add the score and the second highest. So then this is your major ray, this is your minor ray. Then you know who's which ray, who's the archangel, who's the angel you work with on the first ray and second.
All these rays differ from person to person. They cannot
Correct. Exactly
be the
so.
same, because
Yes.
just like a thumbprint, it's different for all individuals. So the rays and the combinations could also be a little different for each person.
That's
according
very
to
true.
the basic characteristics.
Absolutely, and it is so because the reason is this. Each person has a divine mission, unique divine mission on a different ray. So it's not like God did not make us cut with a cookie cutter kind of thing. Everyone has the same mission. Everyone has the same mission, but has a unique divine plan, or we call it dharma, accomplish. Karma to balance and dharma to accomplish uniquely.
Right. So, and who are the elementals?
Well, we talked about the 2 evolutions so far. The first evolution is the evolution of human beings as sons and daughters of God, becoming a Sunday master. Second evolution is angelic evolution. The third evolution is called the evolution of the elementals. So again, we can put them on the 3 evolutions on the 3-fold flame as we did before. So the elemental evolution is on the blue plume. Blue plume is a plume of Brahma. The angelic plume is a plume of Shiva or pink plume. And the yellow plume is a evolution of Vishnu as a yellow. So the blue, yellow and pink. Let's talk about the blue one that the question is about the elementals. Elementals are also, there are 4 kinds of elements, and we call them elements. The word elemental came from the word element. They are like air, fire, water and earth. You can say, well, there are 5 in, where is the 5th one? You might be thinking that there are 5 elements. Which is the 5th one? The 5th one envelops all 4 of these. So Sunday Master talked about the 4 elements: air, fire, water and earth. And these elementals correspond to each of the 4 elements.
Okay. So how can the knowledge of elemental, help human beings?
Excellent question again. How? Because all 3 evolutions work together. Sons and daughters of God, the angelic and the elementals. Elementals help. Let's look at the earth. elementals on the earth. We call them gnomes. In Hindi we call them bonas, they were short, 4 feet, 3 foot tall, and they work tirelessly to grow the vegetables, fruits in the garden, flowers, even under the earth, the oil, coal, minerals, gold, jewelry, crystals, you name it, everything. They work on the earth side of to make the life for us very pleasant, easy life for us.
Now this particular topic reminds me of something which we had read when we were in school. So our books mostly they used to the syllabus was of ICSE, and I think it was mostly derived from the British curriculum. So we had chapters which had mention of beings like elves and pixies and gnomes and dwarfs. So we could never understand who these beings were, and their pictures were also drawn, like maybe these gnomes had very pointy ears, or elves have very pointy nose, and the pixies, I don't remember, but these were the kind of beings which were shown, but which we never ever came across in our daily lives. So we thought that they were mythical creatures. But are they really mythical creatures, or do they really exist somewhere in some place doing their own work? And somehow the writers of those stories knew about these beings, and they introduced in those fables and tales.
I used to think like that. I also studied in in a school, a mission school, and they taught all the kind of things. And then I was thinking along the same lines. I think most of us were thinking like that. Are they imagination, or are they real, or where do you put them? When I started my journey with the Ascended Master's teachings 45 years ago, then I came to realize they are real. And then they have names, and they also are very much organized, like the angels are organized. Angels have a journal, so the 4 kinds of elements, they work under a journal, they have a hierarchy also, and so they are very much dedicated, like angels are dedicated to help the human beings, make them flourish, make them happy, make them what. So they also do that. So let's talk about we talked about the gnomes, what they do. Then there are beings, we call them syphs. They purify the air. They purify the air because daily air is kind of polluted air. So we can also ask them, we can give them the energy. We can ask them, how to please purify the air by, we have some prayers like that have been given, how we can activate or how we can tell the cells to purify the air over a city, or like smog and fog or different things. Likewise, there are elementals who purify the water. We call them undines, Undines. They purify water, like you have the whales, you see whales and how they sound when in the ocean, they sing all that. But there are whales, but there are also beings like that who purify the water. Now, that is another thing that God did not leave did not send us to the earth, human beings I'm talking about, and left the air part undone, and water part undone, and ground part undone. How are we going to survive? How are we going to eat? So He gave us those things. Then there are 4th type. They are called the salamanders. Because fiery salamanders are very tall. They are 15 to 25 feet tall. What do they do? Why they are so tall as compared to the gnomes who are like 3 feet tall, So they purify the ether quadrant, or the fire element. They represent the fire element in the nature to balance it. Well, fire element doesn't mean a physical fire per se. The fire element is etheric fire. We do have these 4 elements we talked about in our body as well. So I'm talking
about. To say that these beings are present within our body also, because the body is also performing all kinds of functions.
Exactly.
And it is not acting as voluntarily as we mostly think it to be, that everything is happening on its own. There are beings inside of us. I mean, we know of microcosmic beings like say bacteria and all, gut bacteria, flora, which kind of facilitates the
Yes.
body functions. But according to your knowledge, there are like these very invisible beings also working day and night to help us stay alive, to keep the environment say clean, and keep the entire cosmic system functioning according to the God's plan. Is it that you mean to say?
I'll answer it this way. It's a very good question. In the macrocosm, we talked about that. In the microcosm body, how do they work? Our body is also made up of these same 4 elements, 5 elements you call it. I'm calling them 4 elements, just what you represent. They work with us, but God has given us another unique elemental. It's called body elemental. This knowledge is not known. We have a body elemental who coordinates with these 4 elements outside. So he is an internal physician in our body. Doctors do not know that. Scientists do not know that. A lot of teachings that are coming to the fore of the mankind knowledge about the body elemental, who is our main physician, who governs the temperature and body and upset and this and that.
May I ask you another question, which if you allow? So, what is the source of all this esoteric knowledge that you're sharing with us today? Because most people, they ask for, especially people of today's world who are mostly very skeptical, that how do you know and how can you claim that all these things are true, and what is the proof that these things exist? So then, what do you have to say to satisfy the questions of such people?
People have asked me this question, and I used to ask the same question when I studied. I said, I don't want to believe God, what is the source of it? Well, this is the source, which is, I won't say anything other than what is this. These things, in India, people know about the Akashik record. Everything that we do, we say, we feel, we act, karma, is being recorded on the Akashik records. But a lot of people read that. They are able to read that at individual level. But also, what I'm talking about is at the planetary level, at the cosmic level. These are Akashik records about all these things. The ascended masters, here comes the knowledge of ascended masters. Ascended masters have dictated that by reading those Akashic records, and they have dictated that through their messengers, who are, both of them are not living. I'm talking about Summit Lighthouse organization that I'm part of 45 years. Through their messengers who are at that time, through them they dictated, they read that, and even the messenger were gifted to read that Akashic records. So that is the source of all this information.
So do you envision a time somewhere in the future when the human consciousness has become so sublime that a time will come that we would be able to directly interact with these beings, these elementals, these angels and ascended masters, and work towards a better humanity? Because I'm sure there was a time when they were not as invisible to us as they are right now, and the knowledge was not as obscure as just right now. I'm sure they were like very direct and smooth interaction happening between all these elements, including us, and the earth was flourishing in every department. So you envision a time that sooner or later humanity will reach that level where this can happen?
Wow, very good question. And that was the reason of being all this information, this knowledge being revealed through this organization and their previous organization, by the way. I'm not saying this is the only organization. There have been, in the last 100 years, there have been many organizations before that. There was Theosophical Society that was also in Adyar in Madras, formerly known as Madras. And there was also Bridge to Freedom and I Am Movement. And there have been many organizations that Ascended Masters have sponsored. And there the Summit Lighthouse is presently there. That I've learned all these things from them. Why? Why are they? Because the earth is at the verge, at the threshold of a golden age, Sat Yuga. And in the previous Sat Yuga, elementals and angels and human beings, they worked together. The people were able to see masters face to face, God and man. We know in our Vedas, in the books like that, it's written that Babaji, Anand Sanjay Master, Mahavatar Babaji, he talks about that, autobiography of a yogi, he talks about that, So these things have happened. So all the saints who have come so far, they have written their books, Ramakrishna is another one. They foresaw these things coming. So Ascended Master's the dream or vision is that, yes, that day is not at far, far in the future, when all these things elemental will work and the environment can be once again crystalline, beautiful and shining and no pollution and all the good things. And one thing can I share with also with your audience?
Please.
I have been told that in the previous golden ages, the color of the earth, the soil was white. It's not like this. So I said, well, what happened? Why this color of the soil? Because of the karma, the negativity, the energy, it changed. I also was told that the rose, I think you mentioned earlier, the roses did not have any thorns in them. They were all beautiful roses because of the duality of the human consciousness, anger, resentment, love and hate, kind of all the things. The elementals mimic that and they brought those things because that's what they do. Elementals mimic whatever they see that and they brought the thorns into the flowers and we see the weeds, we see the germs, we see all those kind of things that were not meant to be there. So the vision is that when the golden age will come by God's grace, of course, our free will also, mankind's free will, all will vanish. Golden age will come and God and man will talk face to face. That's my prayer, that's my dream, that's the vision of the Ascended Masters also,
Okay, that was very, very fascinating, and I'm sure to all the audiences watching this show today, all of this was very, very eye-opening for all of you. I don't think that you have ever heard about such things, but if they do exist, I think it's very exhilarating. It's very exciting to know of a world which is magical, which is fascinating, which is so thrilling, because we all know that our lives have become very mundane. We feel that going about our everyday life, earning our daily bread and looking after our children and then securing, say, a good bank balance and then eventually passing away is our fate. But who could have thought that God or the Divine had really imagined a very, very magnificent world for all of us, which was magical, which was thrilling, where we could see or kind of look forward to the most exciting things every day, the world unraveling in it before us, and it's in the most exciting manner. And if we want this to happen, if we want magic to be a part of our everyday lives, if we want to rise above the mundane and actually claim our divine inheritance, we must really try to make our consciousness more sublime and see what we can do to help Mother Earth, to help humanity, to bring in the new era as quickly as possible. Thank you so much.
I'd like to add, thank you, Shiviji. I'd like to share with your viewers. First of all, I want to thank you and the Life Passing Foundation for having me and on your channel, on your show. You have a website that you may want to jot down and you want to visit our website. It's called www.chananda, CHANANDA.org. www.chananda.org. Also, we have a workshops that we do on Zoom workshop, free of charge, every Sunday. All of you are welcome. So please do visit our website. We have information about how you can join our Zoom workshops. And also my phone number is over there. Can I share my phone number with
please
audience?
share your phone number with our audience. They would love to be a part of your workshops and learn so much about such fascinating hidden knowledge from you.
Thank you. My phone number is it's a WhatsApp number, but you can call me anytime in America or here. 997 112 3483. Again, 997 112 3483. I look forward to greeting you, talking to you, welcoming you, sharing you what little I know, because there's so much more to learn for me from just talking with you, listening to you. Thank you again, Shivaji, for having me on the show.
Thank you, Jaspalji, for coming to our show tonight. It was a pleasure talking to you, and it was actually also very exciting because whatever we heard from your mouth was completely new for me as well as for my audience.